Great. Well, thank you so much. Two-time Super Bowl winner, Terrell Suggs. I'm excited to have you here and to really talk about your journey in football and your journey off the field.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
one thing I want to talk to you about is how did it all come to you? Like, what was it that pushed you into this sport? Some people have it where it just get out the community. Some people have it where it's legacy. So what is your origin story?
My origin story, I had to say, was my dad. He signed me up, to play football. I was 8, and you had to be 10 to play. So he kind of like went out there and forced his hand. He was like, "Nah, he's playing." And my brother was 9. My older brother was 9, so he kind of like made the coaches put us out there. You know what I mean? It was kind of like one of those fathers that throw the kids in the pool and be like, "You better learn to swim and you better not drown." So, yeah, my dad signed us up, and my first love was like basketball.
Oh,
When
wow.
he was like, "Nah, you're a football player," and a young boy's first superhero is his daddy. So you know what I mean. When he said that, I was like, "Shit, I guess I'm a football player then."
And that's definitely true about a young boy's father being their first superhero. Did that
Yeah.
even do something to you, like just seeing your dad push you guys in this direction, even though you weren't even of age yet? He said, "You know what? The age is 10, but they're 8, 9. They're gonna be in this."
Like, not at the time. It didn't. It was just like we wanted to play, and it was like my dad was doing whatever he could so we can get out there. You know what I'm saying? And the other kids was a lot, bigger than us. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause they 10, we 8 and 9.
Yeah.
But he was like, you better do something, you get out there. So he like pressed us. He was like Joe Jackson and us in the greatness, so to say. You know what I'm saying? He was like, "I don't care that they older. If I'm coming into the game early in the morning, you better go out there and ball. You better do something." So like we had that good pressure at a young age.
Nice. I love that. So going through all of grade school, how was that journey for you?
Grade school was dope, man. It was real dope. And I say that because now I'm like doing that with my kids. You know what I'm saying? My son he in 8th grade. My daughter just started high school. They both basketball players. And like I told them, I had a lot of success when I was younger, when I was in grade school, because like I didn't like my dad really wanted me to see me do well, and he really got joy out of watching me play. So, I just try to tell them that, like, yo, I'm not the loud parent. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? They be like, my daughter was like, "Dad, I don't know if I'm doing good because you don't say anything." I'm like, "Donnie, I'm having the time of my life watching you play." You know what I'm saying? So grade school was real dope. My dad he was my basketball coach. He wasn't my football coach. He was my basketball coach from, I want to say, like 3rd grade to 8th. Like he was my basketball coach. He didn't coach me in football, but he never missed a game. So, and he had 3 boys. So on them Saturdays, he navigating. You know what I mean? So grade school was real dope.
Nice. I love that it really centers around your father showing you all the way, being able to multitask, really pushing you all, which sounds like it's also the same type of method you're doing with your own kids in your own way, not the loud,
Yeah,
but the quiet one.
yeah,
So many people have this great debate on, kids and sports, especially being African American, right? Like, no, put them in this and that. But I've done so many interviews with individuals who have a sports background, even if they weren't professional athletes. They could have been actors or, businessmen. And it just seemed like sports help them know how to navigate the world in a more strategic, intentional way where, there's discipline.
yeah, absolutely. Like, it's a lot of, football is getting a bad rap just because of the physicality of it and the hits now. But, football, it taught me a lot of things that are like a lot of valuable lessons at a very young age, just about discipline, about not quitting when things get hard, about, being able to be coached, not, being able to hear things that you don't like, but you have to accept. You know what I'm saying? Like football taught me so much at a very young age. You know what I'm saying? So I would definitely advocate into, you know, parents kind of like signing their kids up, and not just for, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of kids are playing flag. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, you got to let them go out there. That's the only way they're going to learn how to properly hit. You know what I'm saying? And if they're doing it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I learned how to properly hit because like I said, I've been playing football since I was like 8 years old. And, you know, it just, you know, football teaches you so much stuff that like, it's like the subtext. It's not what's actually being taught, but you're going to learn this, you know what I'm saying? About perseverance, about accountability, you know what I'm saying? About, you know, trying to achieve a goal, something that's greater than yourself, you know what I mean? And teamwork and stuff of that, like of that nature.
Nice. I love that. And especially now that with your own kids, they're getting the same experience.
Yeah.
Do you ever sometimes have like flashbacks of yourself at their age and your father?
All the time. Like, especially with my daughter, because my daughter, she's 6'1". You know what I mean? She's 15 years old. Yeah, she just turned 15, 6'1". And, you know, she get the ball, you know, down there in the paint. She pretty much scores when she wants. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to tame this beast. Like, Donnie, you still got to work on, but she's like really, really good. You know what I'm saying? And like that like reminded me, like, you know, I play with a lot of guys like basketball wise, and they play ball overseas. And I like asked them, I'll be like, yo, how did you get that good? Did you have to like work on your game? And they was like, yeah, I worked very hard on my game. And I was like, in football, you know, it wasn't that difficult for me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I went out there and I was like, just better than everybody else on the field. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like I'm just being the truth. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so like when my daughter like just dominates like so effortlessly, I'm like, no, you got to work on your game, because you got to understand there's a lot of people that ain't got what you got right now that's in the gym. You know what I'm saying? Working on their shot, trying to dominate, you know. So, you know, I get a lot of flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, these kids in these generations is different from ours, man. I could never deal with all the social media and the TikToks and all of that. Oh, it's just a lot.
Right, there's so much pressure, especially because you just would go, you know, I'm 34, and you know, before it was college time that social media really took off, right? You know, Facebook, MySpace came around, but now people are worried about the brands and even the schools, coaches, and it was like, you know, Terrell could just go kill it, come back home. You know, you would get the praise the next day, like, hey, he did that. But now it's like they want the instant praise. We want the instant flashbacks.
And it's crazy because like now everything is ranking. Like, oh, he's number one ranked like this. You see, like everything is like got some kind of judgment on it. I'm like, dog, like if I had that kind of like pressure on me at a young age, I can't say that I would. I've been always, you know, obsessed with it, looking at it. Oh, where am I ranked now? Oh, they're not giving me enough love. Oh, they hating me. Rather as going out there and playing for the genuine love of the game and like playing with my friends. You know what I'm saying? Like some of my best time like growing up was like AAU. You know what I'm saying? I played on a star-studded AAU, but we wasn't like, it wasn't no rankings. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is the number one ranked sophomore in the country. Like we wasn't playing for that. Like we trying to win some tournaments, you know what I'm saying? Have some fun and travel. You know what I mean? Now it's like, it's a whole different world. You know what I mean?
No, definitely. Because it is a different world, how do you help your kids navigate it? You know, because it's like, you know, we're generationally removed. So it's like we can give advice, but we're not living in that world with them, you know. Right. So it's kind of like a catch-22. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because you want to help them, but you can't help, like your advice can only go so far, because once they get back to school, they're back in that world where you know, don't even really, it's like.
Yeah, so like how I help them is like I definitely make them get off them phones. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, we finna have family time. Like, you know, at the dinner table, no phones are allowed. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got to engage with each other. We're not cyborgs. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna just live in our phone all the time and everything ain't all about hoop. Like we play like our favorite game to play, you know, is Monopoly. You know, and that game goes for hours. Yeah. So we spend a lot of family time kind of just trying to bring them back. Like, you know, social media, I know everything you're trying to do You got to understand, your dad did that, and I didn't have none of that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have none of that, and I still was able to achieve the level of success that I'm achieving. Like, that stuff's supposed to help you, but it's not supposed to be the all end all. You know what I'm saying? You still some of your life still got to be your own. And as much as I try to feed that into them, when I force them, when we got family time, whenever they can, my daughter doing a TikTok video. And I guess like you said, it's a catch-22. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on it as much as I can be.
Nice. Hey, that's a father can only do as much, and you know you have I don't want to use the thing you could take a horse to like water him, you can't make a drink, but yeah. So now, you know, going back into your life, right? The college you. How was that? Especially because college has changed for athletes, you know, endorsement, all these things, you know. So not only your experience, how do you feel it does change it where it helps some of the underprivileged, you know, athletes being able to monetize off of their college stardom?
Well, you know, when I went to college at 17 years old, and, you know, I went to ASU, and, you know, ASU then had a reputation, you know, for being a party school.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was definitely an eye-opening experience. But, you know, was one thing it told me that every stage in your life is very brief. So you gotta kind of like max it out while you're there. You know what I'm saying? And like college was really dope. And I had the fortune, and like I stayed home. I went to high school with Phoenix. So went right up the street to ASU. Once again, dad at every game. You know what I mean? He was able to watch every game because the games were broadcast. And like, you know, just being home, like I never really got homesick. You know what I'm saying? Like when I did, I just went to my mom's house or whatever. And like the guys I was around, they saw the potential. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, oh, here come this freshman kind of like coming in. Oh, we you know what I mean? It wasn't like they didn't rock with me. They was like, all right, he can help us win. And a lot of guys kind of like took me under their wing and kind of like let me feel it my way out. You know what I'm saying? At 17. And I was able to play as a true freshman, you know what I mean? Had some success, you know what I'm saying? But like the guys there, like that's really like helped me mature. Like I said, I was 17. I was still a teenager, you know what I'm saying? They kind of helped me and groomed me become a young man, you know what I mean? So, you know, college was awesome. It was awesome. And it was like what I'm trying to teach my daughter is, you know, you want to pick a school that when you're done doing whatever it is you love, you know what I mean, you want to be able to get it whatever job you want. You know what I'm saying? My daughter's, she's a big UConn fan. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, Donnie, you should really consider Stanford. You know what I'm saying? Because they got a great basketball program. And I'm like, Donnie, when you're done with basketball, you can go to any job and be like, yeah, I graduated from Stanford. They're gonna be like, what? You went to Ivy League? You know what I mean? I wish somebody would taught me that and pitching this, you know, and picking a school and networking. You know what I'm saying? Like if you think of, you know, how the world works is really based off, you know, relationships. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them relationships comes from like the school they picked or a sorority, you know what I mean, or fraternity, you know what I mean, that they picked. So, you know, I'm trying to teach my daughter that because like I missed that part of that. Like I'm thinking like, all right, I'm only gonna mingle with the football players. So that's what we get along with. But you know, it's probably a guy that went to ASU, head of a Fortune 500 company. You know what I'm saying? Like could have came to me with some investment. You know what I
mean? You could use that money.
You know what I'm saying? Taking over the world. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who you don't know. You know what I mean? And it's like it's good. I'm glad I got to experience it because you know now I can help my children. Like you know, once, you know, I made it to the league, I was like, yeah, I get to provide for my kids, for them to have a college education. But now, like, with them taking off athletic-wise, like, they're going to be able to pick their school, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, now I can kind of, like, help them, like, navigate how to work rooms, you know what I mean? And how to, which classes to take about business and, you know, and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Nice. I love it. I will say before I go on to the next part of your life, what is with you starting everything so early all the time? You know, he was 8 going on to, you know, it's like,
I know.
Is that your dad like way of giving you like,
that was actually my mom. Like my mom made me, like, I guess, like when my brother went to school, she was like, nah, you getting up out of here too. You getting up, you know what I mean? So my brother went to school at 7 or whatever. She was like, you 6, you out of here. You out of here. Mom was having it. Mom was
your daddy
having it.
wanted y'all to be competitive and your mom wanted y'all out this house.
Mom was like, y'all getting out. You know what I'm saying? You know?
I love that. I just love always, especially just seeing, Black mother, Black father. Those are always beautiful stories, how they impacted. Moving on to now professionally, right? How did you protect yourself professionally for making sure that you maneuvered correctly, you financially set yourself up correctly, unless there's some things you don't know that you want to share? But just really, because that's always like that age-old tale of people in sports, especially African Americans, professional, then they lose all their money, and then they don't have nothing to speak for at the end.
Well, the thing is, how did I move? Like, you know what I mean? I had a, like I said, I was put in a fortunate situation to have like guys around me. I had, Ray Lewis, around me when I first got there, and Ed Reed, and Jonathan Ogden. He the most frugal guy I've ever met. I've never seen Jonathan Ogden wear a different outfit. You know what I'm saying? And he's like the best tackle ever, made some of the most money ever, but you wouldn't tell it, you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it was just like, I always wanted to live like beneath my means. Like I was never, kind of a flashy, braggadocious person. I had the phase, like I got drafted at 20 and I did everything pretty much 50 Cent said in the song. If he said in the song, I went and bought it, and then I was like, nah, this ain't the way, this is stupid. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that lesson early. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, you do hear the stories, and those are kind of like nightmares. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to fall victim to that. And the biggest thing I would say is my mom, like, having my back. My mother was always really good with like money and numbers. And one thing we had to get really good with was taxes. You know what I mean? You have to, that's really where I would say 90% of the athletes like kind of like lose their money, is they're not very keen on how the tax things work. You know what I mean? Everything you own, like I was thinking about today, I'm like, I own all my houses and I'm still paying for them. Yeah. Like, don't have mercy. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. I was like, how did we let them get away with like, oh, you already bought it, but we're going to tax you every year, or we're going to tax you twice a year. Yeah. We're going to take our cut off. You know what I mean? Hey, we're proud of you, but I think that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're, and that's sometimes, that's one thing. Sorry about that. I mean, yeah, I got a call, but that's one thing, that's one thing you really only gonna learn by going through it. You know what I'm saying? How to, get the tax breaks, and about write-offs, and how to start LLCs and stuff like that, and trust 529s for your kids. You know what I mean? Like, you only learn that after you go through it. Some people have fortunate, like, you gotta understand, like, some people come from prestigious, backgrounds or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And they get to learn that at a very young age, you know what I'm saying? Whereas, like you said, us in the African-American community, we kind of only get to learn it once we get the check, once half of the check gone. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know Social Security was rocking like this. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? It's like one of those things you learn, but once you learn, you just kind of, you gotta become, a master of your craft like you do with your sport.
Nice. When it comes to these deals, right? Because they glamorize it in TV, movie. You think of the game, you think of ballers, right? Mm-hmm. That you get the signing bonus. What is it? It's almost like that TLC moment. Remember they on the radio and they broke down what all the pieces of whoever, how everybody else get paid. What is that for a football player that people don't understand? Because people think it's like, oh man, Terrell, he just got signed. He just got this. We see the headlines. Right. He got a $5 million deal for 4 years. What don't people realize that?
What people see is like, they be like, all right, say, my first big deal was 5 years, $63 million. They think they gave me a $63 million check. That's what people think. Like, $63 million never showed up. at any point of that contract. Like big one, half of it is gone. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, U.S. and that government right there with you, like your dad showed up. Like, man, where you been all this time? You know what I'm saying? U.S. government showing half of that check gone, boom. You know what I'm saying? And like, you know, you got to take care of the people that help you get your parents. Your parents need a crib. You know what I'm saying? You're still gonna pay taxes on that if you don't buy it all the way out. You know what I'm saying? Cars, insurance. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that adds up. And when you're not in season in the NFL, you don't get any checks. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on your salary is based out while you're in season. You don't get just like year-round checks. You know what I'm saying? You get 17 games and they're gonna spread it out amongst that 17.
So off season, what do you guys do?
You better manage it. You know what I'm saying? You better be living below your means. You know what I'm saying? And then people don't forget, like it's a year-round job. You got to pay your trainer. You know what I'm saying? You're working out all year. You got to pay your nutritionist. You got to pay your money guy. You know what I'm saying? Your tax guy. You got to pay your agent. You know what I mean? Like all of that still adds up. You know what I'm saying? That's what people don't understand. Like if $10 ain't $10, you know what I mean? $10 more like six and a half. And before you get your next $10, you didn't spend that six and a half, then probably trickle down to like four and $3.50. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to be smart with it, man, and don't, you know, spend your money on frugal stuff like jewelry and cars. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to tell my young guys like the Darius Smith, I'm like, yo, you're gonna do it because like I did it, but that's the only way you really gonna learn. Like, you know, it's a saying, you know, the hard-headed got to feel it to believe it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like a parent could say, don't touch that stove, it's hot. Don't touch that stove, it's hot. Don't touch that stove, it's hot. And then it's like, oh, what did I tell you? Now you know. You know what I mean? Now you're cautious. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I learned a lot of these lessons like early. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was very fortunate, you know, to come in the league at 20 and to have some success and like to get, you know, bigger contracts and bigger deals. But then I started having children. I started seeing the bigger picture. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to avert your habits there. You know what I mean?
Nice. So I want to be conscious of our time because I know you're already a busy father and everything else you got going on in your life. You know, people got games. So post, you know, retirement, right? After you retire, what does life look like for you and how do you manage yourself financially, you know, business ventures, you know, how do you make sure Terrell is good? You know, we love to throw the word generational wealth, but I just feel like that word applies to someone like you because you probably are setting up your kids and everyone to be successful.
Yeah. So like, you know, like I said, like I was very fortunate to kind of like have my mama be my business partner and like she set us up, like we got into a lot of commercial real estate and like a lot of, you know, just regular real estate and like homes and stuff and rent out and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's not, you don't really need, you know, the next Uber or Google to, you know, set yourself up right. You know, you want residual income, you know what I mean? You want to be modest, you know what I'm saying? And you definitely got to set it aside out for Uncle Sam because like I said, he's coming to get his cut every year. Yeah. Every year. So you just got to make sure, you know, your investment, your living kind of just set up your life. You know what I mean? And I've been very fortunate, you know what I'm saying? Like really now, I'm still searching for the next thing I'm gonna do, but I'm having the time of my life being dad. You know what I'm saying? Like I retired in 2020 and, you know, I still wake up and work out and I play basketball pretty much, I would say 5 times a week. I just hoop like every day, kind of to stay in shape. And I pretty much just go to my kids' games, man. So like retirement's been good. But like, you know, I feel like the walls are coming in on me. So I gotta do something, man. Like I can't just be this soccer dad, so to say, this basketball dad, so to say. So I don't know, like I said, it's been good. I've been able to like, you know, make a good living for myself that I ain't got to make no decisions yet. But, you know what I mean? I'm like I said, I'm really having the time of my life just being dad, man. Like, it's nothing better in your world than when your daughter asks you, Dad, you come to my game? And you're like, yeah. And like, she done had games in New York, in Chicago, Iowa, all up DC, Pennsylvania. And like, I've been able to go to them. Like, I ain't had to train, I ain't had to go to OTAs, training camps, or nothing like that. And I was like, this is why I work so hard. You know what I'm saying? So I could do this, so I could be here for this stage and they like, you know what I'm saying? And that's really like been like God's greatest, like, here, this is how I'm gonna reward you. You know what I'm saying?
No, I love that. Before we end, I want to ask you this one last question. What does being a father mean to Terrell?
It's the most important job that I've ever had in my life. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, your kids are gonna, imitate what you do. So I'm very cautious about the things that I say around them. You know what I mean? Even though they're older, like, I want them to be, free. I want them to be free thinking. I want them to be able to think for themselves. I don't want you to have my beliefs. You know what I'm saying? I could tell you what I think is truth, and you're gonna have to go and research it and see if your daddy lying to you or not. You know what I'm saying? And me and my daughter's my best friend, and like I said, me and my son really close. So I kind of gotta, not like, especially, they coming of age now. My daughter 15, so boys is coming. You know what I mean? And my son 14, so he's already liking girls. You know what I mean? So it's like, I gotta treat them both the same. She's like, oh, he can't have no girlfriend and I can't have no boyfriend. I'm like, you're absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? Y'all worry about school. You know what I'm saying? So it's the most important job I've ever had in my life, and it's the most flattering job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love being a dad. I love being dad, and it's like I said, it's just flattering every day. Like, even the unfortunate stuff, like when they fighting and arguing, and I gotta play referee, or I gotta discipline, both of them or whatever. You know what I mean? Even that stuff gets kind of fun at times. You know what I'm saying? So it's dope, man, being a parent.
Oh no, I love that. That's beautiful. I love this story. Thank you. We're all out of time, but I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I enjoyed myself.
I had a great time, man. This is dope.
Perfect.